what are the best niches to make like first $25,000 or $50,000 with just Parasite SEO?
Yeah, for sure. So Parasite SEO is the technique of publishing content or publishing pages on other people's websites. Generally speaking, those websites have a lot of authority in Google's eyes, and because they have a lot of authority, Google tends to treat them in preferred ways.
How do you crack a new coming domain or a possible domain that can be a good Parasite website?
We have our own software, right? We have parasiteseo.com, and we have our own internal software as well that we've developed.
Do you focus on off page or you just focus on publishing more and more pages?
More and more pages and viral boosting. Right.
What tools do you use for CTR manipulation? Is it some internal tool or you use a tool in the market?
Yeah, we're using internal tools.
I would have to compare working on EMDs versus working on age domains.
Age domains, the more competitive it gets, right? EMDs, the less competitive it gets.
3 niches will you suggest that is not very competitive yet very rewarding and still can be done by people just starting off?
Yeah, I would say
So, hello guys, welcome to my podcast again. Today I have on the show for the series International SEO podcast, Charles Floate. So again, Charles, welcome to our podcast. Though a lot of people already know you, but a quick introduction about yourself. Who are you and what do you do currently?
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, Kushal. I've been doing SEO since I was 12 years old, so it's coming up to 17 years now, maybe 18 years now doing SEO. I started doing it for my family business and working on our family business e-commerce website in the UK. Ended up kind of moving away from the white hat e-commerce style stuff more to my own personal projects around Black Hat, Parasite SEO, domaining, and a bunch of other platform kind of level SEO as well away from Google, because I've always been a big advocate of search engine optimization being for search engines, not necessarily just Google, and you can make a lot of money on other platforms as well. So I've always been very testing, reverse engineering based, and then I've also kind of been quite outspoken and kind of controversial in some ways to some people in the industry as well.
Correct.
On Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, kind of name it out there as well, selling some consulting courses, ebooks, audits, that kind of good stuff on top as well.
Okay, I'll start off with the thing that I know you from, that is a Parasite SEO. Back in I guess 2021 or 2022, I discovered this thing. I was just scrolling through across LinkedIn, and I found some of your posts talking about Outlook India, right? And I got to know about that website, and literally that was the day, and today is the day. Me and my team scaled Outlook India like anything for almost all the possible niches and stuff. But let's not talk about that, but let's talk about Parasite SEO in general. What do you think of Parasite SEO and how it's performing in 2025 and beyond? What do you think? How will it shape up and stuff? So
I definitely think that as we move more into the AI era, I think that Parasite's going to be more important in the instance that we're going to need to have the ability to publish on multiple different publishers and multiple different authority news websites and things like that, so that the AI itself starts summarizing from those different sources and treating our own brands and our own projects and things as the recommended entity. However, I think right now, we're not quite there yet, and I don't think that Google is going to fully roll out AI overviews and things into all of the search and stuff, just because they're going to lose so much of their cash cow when it comes to search ads. So I do see that Parasite SEO in general is probably going to be more protected, and with Google moving all of its engineering and processing resources into AI as well, the search algorithm isn't changing that massively either, as it used to do with previous updates that could be completely game changing. They're not really doing that anymore because they don't have the time and the resources they used to have. They put all of that into AI. So I do see the algorithm, as it has continued to trend more towards authority, I think it will continue to do that, and that only benefits Parasite SEO at the end of the day anyway.
okay. And if anyone is watching this video and has not heard about this term called Parasite SEO and wants to start with Parasite SEO in 2025, give us a quick startup guide and how anybody can just get started with Parasite SEO. What are the best niches to make first $25,000 or $50,000 with just Parasite SEO, and what are the right techniques to establish good traffic in Parasite?
Yeah, for sure. So Parasite SEO is the technique of publishing content or publishing pages on other people's websites. Generally speaking, those websites have a lot of authority in Google's eyes, and because they have a lot of authority, Google tends to treat them in preferred ways. That means that they get past anti-spam systems that a lot of other content and pages don't necessarily get past on a lot lower authority domains that don't have that same trusted and preferential treatment. But it also means that you can rank for very competitive, highly searched for keywords and very profitable keywords a lot quicker than you could ever do doing on your own website, where you have to build out all the content, all the different pages, build out the backlinks, that kind of stuff. You can do it in sometimes the same day with pages going live in Parasite SEO. Generally speaking, if you were to do it yourself, right, if you were to find a profitable niche, those profitable niches might be casino, it might be cryptocurrency, it might be insurance, it might be weight loss, it might be healthcare, there's law firms, there's all different sorts of lead generation and affiliate and CPA kind of style niches out there. Those are the big ones. However, I would always argue it depends on where you were based and your geo, and that if you have got some abilities and some local connections and that kind of exclusivity deals and things like that, you're going to A, get better and more profitable pages, and B, it's probably going to be easier to rank because you're not going to have as much competition. If you can go in and start using Parasite SEO in a geo or a niche where nobody else is using it, you're going to be able to dominate people very, very quickly because of how effective it is, especially with the current algorithm that we're dealing with.
Okay, and but still, like what's when it comes to doing Parasite SEO, the number one thing is obviously the website that you want to publish articles on. How do anybody ensure or crack a new website other than any website that is already in the market? How do you crack a new coming domain or a possible domain that can be a good Parasite website?
Yeah, so how do you track it and how do you find it? Generally speaking,
Yes. How do you?
we will so we have our own software, right? We have parasiteseo.com, and we have our own internal software as well that we developed from that. So that software is what we kind of give to the public, but it was based on internal software that we had ourselves. So our internal software would just track top 100 SERPs for different very competitive keywords, right? And it would randomly find news publishers, forums, all of these different kind of websites that we know we can probably publish on ourselves. And it would just notify us whenever these new domains that hadn't seen before popped into the SERP. And that means that every week we just manually go through that list of all the new sites that have popped into these competitive SERPs and go through and see which pages are A, actually ranking and doing very well, better than we thought they would do, right? And then B, which sites we can go and build or buy on to go and see if we can create those pages ourselves and start making some really profitable ranking pages very, very quickly. But it's all about testing and experimentation, right? Some sites work absolutely amazingly for certain queries, but for some reason, slight variants of that query, they don't work so well for.
Correct. Like, payday loans might work well, but personal loans might not work well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Okay. And like, what do you think about optimizing content for these websites? Like, what is the correct way of writing the best content? Because again, content really matters on what format you do, how do you format your content. So how does anyone figure out that?
We just match consensus, right? So we just match whatever Google has currently ranked in the top 3, top 10, top 15, and we try and build the same structure, the same flow, the same entities, all of that kind of thing, but we just try and outdo it. So if the top 3 average word count is 1,500 words, it has these entities, it's in this structure, it's this format, we might do 1,600 words, but just make it the same format, the same structure, a little bit better, a little bit more optimized. And generally speaking, if we're doing Parasite, we will be more aggressive. So we'll use more keywords, we'll be a bit more aggressive with the title.
Yes.
If we're doing it for our own website, we'll be more natural because we're trying to not have multiple
keywords,
anti-spam systems being triggered
yes,
by all those different pages. Whereas if you do it on Parasite, you can be a lot more aggressive because they have the authority and things like that, but also because you're not doing it on so many different pages, they have a lot of other pages that are offsetting those anti-spam systems, where if you have it on your own site, you don't have as many offsetting it, unfortunately.
Got it. And like, what about once you figure out a website, you figure out the content, the URL is published, but how do you ensure that it stays for long? Do you do a lot of GSA, or do you do a lot of backlinks or viral traffic, or you just leave the websites as it is?
We do a lot of viral boosting, CTR manipulation, things like that. Just because in competitive niches, it's the quickest way to get it ranking quite quickly. But we don't necessarily care about the long-term ROI, right? We more care about, okay, let's go and rank a project. Let's spend $10,000 and let's make $50 or $100,000,
Exactly.
right? And let's just do the same thing tomorrow and the same thing the next day and the
Yes.
same thing the day after,
Yeah.
right? And ideally, we scale it up so that, if we make that 100K off the investment and also we get the data, that's another thing, right? Some of those investments fail.
Yes.
So you could invest 10K into 5 or 6 different premium pages and none of
None
them
of them.
rank,
Yes.
right?
Happens.
But that gives you a lot of insight
Insights.
into, or actually some of them do rank, but actually it turns out that new keyword you thought was going to be really profitable
Is
isn't that
not
profitable,
profitable.
and you don't make as much money back.
Yes.
So that data is almost better than the really successful campaigns that do okay, right? Because we'd rather be able to then scale off of knowing which keywords work, which sites work, that kind of thing. Because then once you know that, okay, this site works really well, especially in these different keywords, then we're just going to build pages on that site for all of them, right? Rather than investing the money into different new projects. So we tend to try and do everything based on ROI. What's going to grow as the best investment based on our current investments and our future plans tomorrow.
Okay, so like if I conclude the answer, so the answer is, do you focus on off page or you just focus on publishing more and more pages?
More and more pages and viral boosting, right?
Viral
Because
boost.
again, most of the time we don't care necessarily if the page is ranked in 2 weeks because we're on to the next page or the next site and things like that. We're also and again we're just data harvesting. So if a page does do really well, then we will try and re-rank it when that page falls off. But normally it will last 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, something like that, right, before it falls off.
Correct.
And in that time span,
You already made a
we've
couple
normally
of
done
100K.
6, 9, 12 different campaigns already anyway.
Yes, correct. So what do you do for viral boosting? Like how do you manage viral boosting campaigns?
I can't give too much away, right, with that because it's a bit of secret sauce. But we do, it's basically just CTR manipulation with social signals and then layered traffic as well. So you put traffic to your links, traffic to your social signals, traffic to your site, traffic to other pages on the website that link to it, all sorts of things, right? And then a lot of it is also making sure that you don't trigger anti-spam systems by posting on like Reddit and stuff like that. So you make it seem like it's actually gone viral. You make it seem like, okay, it's not just getting fake traffic. The traffic is maybe it looks a little bit fake, but it looks real because it's also getting Reddit comments and it's getting all of this and it's getting social signals and things, right? And you have to do it all timed quite well. And you can't generally keep doing it over and over again to the same pages in the same domain. Once you've done it to a domain, or specifically normally once you to a page once, you won't be able to do it again to that page, which is again why we're just doing the next one and the next one and the next one. In terms of link building, we don't really do much link building to the pages because we just build new pages. We sometimes internally link, or not internally, sometimes link the pages,
Other
like
pages,
pages between each other. Because especially if we are buying cheaper parasites that we know probably won't rank number 1 for the main query, we'll target those cheaper parasites at long tail variants, right, to try and rank them number 1 for long tail variants, and then we'll link those back to the main target pages that we're trying to rank for the main query.
Okay, got it. And like what tools do you use for CTR manipulation? Is it some internal tool or you use a tool in the market?
We're using internal tools for most of it, and then sometimes we'll use like micro workers and a couple of other bits and pieces and stuff, but most of it is internal tools and also external services as well for like Internet of Things devices and
IPs and stuff. Yeah. Okay. And when it comes to Parasite SEO, like that's the most grayish, blackish hat thing that people are doing these days. Another one that we are seeing again is again getting very popular is age domains. So what do you think of like working with age domains and strategies that are working well for you in the age domain market?
Yeah, so it's working really well again because Google has again lessened its like processing and resources and things like that. It's doing less resources so that it can put all those resources into AI, and it's removed some of the anti-spam systems and things that it had before that would check at domain registrar levels and things like that. Right. I do think that you need to be quick with the domains, and you need to be able to know how to do the setup. You need to know how to do the redirects correctly. You need to know how to do redirect chaining and things like that to get the most out of them. And like I said, you can rank for 2 weeks in certain niches and make $10,000 to $20,000 a day or so from that niche. And if you buy a domain for $5,000, then just rank it for 2 weeks, then your ROI is absolutely insane, right? So there's a lot of money to be made inside of it. It's just a lot. We have a lot higher failure rate, right? So and especially because domains are getting so expensive at the moment. Most domains that we're buying for the niches because we're doing competitive niches, right? Most of the domains that we're buying, normally we're trying to buy domains that have active history. So they're still ranking for keywords, or the site's still indexed and things like that. We don't want age domains that have lost their equity in Google's algorithm. We need that equity to still be maintaining so that we can use it to rank for new keywords. Most of those domains are at minimum going to cost $2,000, $3,000 to be able to get, right? A lot of them are going to be like $15,000, $20,000, $25,000. If some of those fail, which I guarantee you some of them will, right, then you've immediately lost that $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, right? You could have put that into Parasite, which could have bought you 10, 20 pages, and I guarantee you a few of those pages are going to succeed. So I tend to prefer to use Parasite over age domains just because the ROI and the results are a lot safer than it is using domains. However, I've seen you get a lot more control with the domains, right? Because you get your own pages, all this sort of things and stuff. You'll have higher CTR, all of that kind of stuff, unless some could argue about publishers and things, right? However, like I said, it's mainly to do with cost. I don't want to go and invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into domains that might not work tomorrow, right?
Okay. And again, if I would have to ask you like three-step thing to make sure that you set up a domain correctly, what will be that? What will be those three steps just to make sure that the domain is set up correctly?
Yeah. So for an age domain or a brand new domain?
Age domain.
Okay, so for an age domain, the first thing I would probably say is trying to maintain whatever just happened with the previous registrar. So seeing what's going on. A lot of people for some reason like to move the domain names initially as well. So we try to keep the domain wherever it was registered, right? If it's on GoDaddy auctions, we're going to leave it on GoDaddy. If it was with whatever other company it was with, we're going to leave it on that registrar. We're going to leave it on that company. We're not going to try and move the DNS registrar and stuff immediately. We're going to try and make sure the page is re-indexed. We'll probably do GSC on an account that is on the same domain that we're trying to redirect it to, if we're doing a redirect, or on a new account if we're building the site itself. And then once we've got the domain and done all that, we're going to go to step 2, which is setting it up. In terms of setting it up, we want to try and move the site as quickly as possible. So we're going to have all of the pages already built to go live. We're not going to build the home page one day, then the about page the next day, then blog post the day after that, because then we're going to get sandboxed a lot easier. We want the new website to be 100% already done and go live the same day. And then we're going to have links going live to that at the same time, as well as the new entities, new social profiles, all that kind of stuff. GSC sitemap submissions, GSC submitting most important pages, all of that kind of stuff on the same day. And ideally, the site is indexed and doesn't get sandboxed. Then we don't really need step 3. Step 3 is only if it gets sandboxed. And then you have to do like trust layering and things like that, which starts getting a bit more complicated around link building and maybe even some CTR manipulation, all sorts of stuff. But in general, you're just trying to get Google to trust the domain and repurpose it into the new niche, right, in the first place.
And but still, if it gets sandboxed, then what do you do?
It depends, right? Because it can get sandboxed for multiple different reasons. So it can get sandboxed because Google doesn't like the new niche, or it won't repurpose it. So we call it like a repurposing sandbox. It can get sandboxed because it won't give you the equity from the old domain. So won't. It thinks that old domain links should still be in place, and they're pointing to like dead pages and
The
things like
correct
that. And that
URL,
would
yes.
move the equity around properly. So you want to try and move those dead pages to new pages. And if you're just doing them all at the home page and mastering one, that's an anti-spam signal. And then you can also have issues with the domain itself. So if the domain has had any previous penalties, or it's been registered on like 5 different GSE accounts, all these kind of things, right? That can happen. So you have to diagnose the reason of why it's getting sandboxed and then fix that. In general, 90% of the time, it's going to be trust-based problems, or it's going to be problems with the domain itself.
So when it comes to trust based problems, you can eventually fix those with EAT signals on the website, correct?
Yeah.
EAT signal, or maybe a function signal. Like, let's suppose if that was an agency domain, maybe try to give the website as a function from the address or anything that makes it relevant, correct?
Yeah, 100%. Like freshness is a massive part of it as well. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And if I would have to like compare like working on EMDs versus working on age domains, like what would you pick and why?
Age domains, the more competitive it gets, right? EMDs, the less competitive it gets.
Okay. And if I would have to like start doing maybe age domains or Parasite SEO in any random niches, what 3 niches will you suggest that is not very competitive yet very rewarding and still can be done by people just starting off, or people those who are already doing?
Yeah, I would say local hosting is a good one, right? So hosting in your
Local
country.
host.
So instead of
Mm-hmm.
doing like WordPress hosting, better WordPress hosting, stuff like that, which is insanely competitive, I would look at WordPress hosting for Canada or WordPress hosting for Germany or something like that. And anything in general that you can still do big, very competitive niches. Just do it for your geo. So just do you could do payday loans, but in Canada you could do crypto casino, but in Germany,
Australia.
like that, right? Japan or something.
Yeah.
I would always argue that those are better because you'll again have all of the local benefits and things of doing it, and it's easier to compete, and you'll still be very profitable. If you're looking at international/English niches, it gets very difficult because they're either going to be all very competitive, or they're going to be mediocre returns. There's occasional kind of golden finds that you get, but in general, I would say the only niches where you're consistently going to get pretty good returns is if you do like weight loss and find the or healthcare or anything like that and jump on trends. And in general, jumping on trends, right? So I'm sure if you started ranking for like Labubus and stuff like that, I don't know if you've seen this, right? Like ranking
Yeah,
for, like,
Labubu.
the
I know.
dogs, doing stuff like that. Anything where you can jump on trends and just immediately start getting traffic for things, that traffic is very valuable. A lot of different offers usually, and there's lots of different ways to promote it, even if it's not necessarily to the standard brand and you're doing it more offshore and things. And that the third one is offshore casinos, so offshore operators and things like that. So if you're working in the Netherlands, or you're working in Sweden, or you're working in Canada or the US or something, this would be unregulated casinos and things like that. And there's loads of different variants for those terms, but they're money printers, right? You can make 100K a day easily off of some of those
Correct.
especially in some of the bigger geos where there's a large population as well.
Okay. And when it comes to now let's talk about iGaming, because again you post quite a lot about iGaming. So what has been your biggest iGaming success story so far? Any case study that you are okay sharing?
Yeah, so
Not with this site, but in general, any keyword or market that you feel is good to work on.
Yeah, so we've had some big success in Japan where a lot of people have struggled. We've worked on our outreach formulas and things like that just to actually get success and get replies, because you'd be surprised at how difficult it is just getting news publishers and bloggers and things to reply to you and stuff, right?
Yes.
So we've been working on all of that in Japan, which has allowed us to build a lot of backlinks in Japan, which a lot of competitors can't build a lot of Parasite pages in Japan, which a lot of competitors can't build, and it's given us a lot of insight into what's working there from not just an SEO perspective, but also from a niche perspective and from CTR and CRO, because they're a very different culture to the rest of the world. And what it takes for them to convert on your pages is very, very different from what it takes the average American or the average British person, right, to convert. And it's interesting, but it's a fantastic niche. The other niche that has been going amazing is Brazil recently, because it got regulated this year. So it was previously unregulated, but it's now regulated, and that means if you can get in with the operators that now have licenses in Brazil, they are again printing money as well. And the niches and SEO in Brazil is still quite low. I think their highest DR website is like DR90 or something like that. It's, even though the UK publishers are like DR97 and DR98 and things like that. So I think that there's a massive opportunity there just because it became unlicensed and the SEO is a little bit behind.
Okay. And when it comes to working in other geos, the biggest problem people face is managing content. Like, let's suppose you're sitting in the UK, I'm sitting in India. If I want to get some Parasite pages done for Japan, right, in Japanese, without having native content writers or without willingly to spend a lot on native content writers, do you think AI content will do the job, or AI with some human efforts can make you rank for these terms?
You'll rank 100%. It's just you won't convert nearly as well, right? So you can rank all day long because the algorithm isn't nearly as good, especially in those other languages, at understanding what is real and what's not real content. It's a lot better in English at understanding that. However, when it comes to especially countries like Japan, countries like Norway and things like that, where the education level is very high and it's a bit different culturally, your conversion rates will be very, very low if you don't do the extra work, especially just in your CTAs and the opening paragraphs and your images and things like that. Too many people use really badly done AI images and things like that, and that destroys their conversion rate.
Does not convert.
Yeah.
Okay. But so according to you, AI content can work with Parasite pages, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And what about AI in English or English markets, English speaking markets?
Yeah, you just need an editor.
Okay, editor. But AI content is okay, right? Any tools that you use to generate AI content for English or other languages?
We use
Your
in-house
preferred.
APIs and things and stuff.
Okay. But any publicly available tool that you feel is okay to try it out?
Probably Bright Sonic. I don't know if you've used Bright Sonic.
Right Sonic. Okay. Yeah, I have used Right Sonic. It's an Indian company though. Yeah. Okay. Right Sonic. How about Surfer? Is it good? Any good?
It's a credit system where it's just way too expensive, right? So I think the credits are
Okay.
$9 or something for one article.
Yes,
which
$9
is
for
just
AI article.
way too expensive for an AI piece of content. Especially
Okay.
if realistically, and especially what we do in general is we're generating multiple different variations of an article, and then we're seeing the editor goes and checks which one they think is personally the best, and then uses that one, right? If you're doing that with Surfer, you've got to first of all generate 3 different variations of the article. That's $27.
That's already
which is more expensive
$27,
than
yes.
paying the $5 or $6 an hour VA to do, right? So suddenly,
Yes.
I might as well just pay a writer to write the content. Especially, you could get Macedonian writers and stuff like that for $6-7 an hour, and they could publish a 1,000 words that is a lot better quality than the AI would be able to write. To be fair. AI might just be better.
Yeah, so you're saying that one can get, AI content written with, let's suppose, Right Sonic and get it proofread for $6 or $7 an hour for the best optimum quality, correct?
Yeah.
And I guess that content will be good enough because again, if it is human proofread, so that will obviously fix a lot of issues. And maybe a 3,000 words will cost $18 to $19.
It depends on the editor and the niche, especially, and the language. That's another thing. So if you're doing Norwegian or something, then the editor is going to cost you €50 an hour, right? To get
Yes, exactly.
editor.
Because European nations,
So there's massive cost increases depending on the language in the country. But in general, we get it to be $4 per 3,000 word article or something like that, because one editor can do 3 articles an hour normally.
Okay, and what language is this for $4?
English. So that's average.
English. Okay, got it. And have you post a lot of success stories on Thailand. Have you explored Thailand for iGaming?
Not like I have a lot of clients, right? So yeah, I have unfortunately. Yes.
Okay, and like what's the average conversion player value in Thailand? Like if anybody is interested, like is it any good or is not that good?
So most of my clients are trying to rank for lotto keywords in Thailand.
Lotto.
Lotto and
Mm-hmm.
sports betting, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
There's not as many people that are playing slots and casino games and stuff in Thailand as there are people who are doing sports betting. Football betting is illegal, but it's massive. Like they love football here. And every time, when I think when Liverpool won the Premier League, I'm pretty sure there was a couple million Thai men betting on that just one game.
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
So the market here is massive, but it's very seasonal.
Hmm.
As soon as the Premier League is over, right,
The
ninety
trend is
percent of the
gone.
market goes literally.
Hmm.
But Lotto is massive for daily users. I would say there's probably 6 or 7 million daily users of Lotto, and there's people constantly searching for it online, and then they enter all sorts of different local ones as well. Um,
Hmm.
so there's massive money to be made. You just need to be in with the operators, and it's very seasonal. It's very dependent on what you're promoting. It's also and who you have connections with and stuff like that. And there's not as much when it comes to, like I said, casino games and slots and things like that.
Okay. And when it comes to doing aggressive SEO, like let's suppose you got an age domains and you want to do a couple of redirects on that age domain. So how do you make sure that when is the right time to do redirects to the age domains?
As early as possible, usually,
Hmm.
right? Because we're trying to maintain the equity of the domains, and we're trying to push the other redirect juice in to that domain as well. So we will just
Hmm.
try and use them as early as possible. As we do redirect chaining, so the double 301 redirect trick, whatever it is, those kind of methods. Nowadays, you could do like 5, 9, 10 redirect chains, and it doesn't necessarily matter. But generally speaking, we just wait for Google to hit a site. The moment the rankings start tanking, we'll just redirect that to another one and do a redirect chain. And it normally rebrings the rankings back up every time. You just need a new age domain. You can't
Hmm.
have a
One age
fresh
domain to
or a
another to.
expired domain or anything like that in the middle. It has to
Hmm.
be constant age domains, just hopping from
Hmm.
equity to equity to equity, basically.
So you think that this works? You think this works, right? Like multiple redirect chains.
I know it works.
Okay, and like, have you seen this site called Wavecom.ai ranking in US for a couple of casino terms? Have you seen this around?
What's the domain?
It's Wavecom.ai.
I'm pretty sure yes.
So again, a website that was built upon it was some AI startup, and the guy literally started ranking for almost all the no deposit terms, bonus terms in the US for like crazy positions. Like I'm sure if you have checked that out, if you haven't, you should, because it's a single page, no EAT signals, no disclaimer, nothing, just a page, and like ranking for like almost 10,000 keywords, and in Href the traffic is around 270K. So it is quite crazy, like one of, again, an example of a site with a function, relevance, timing, and that ranks really well. So like, do you believe, do you take practice of semantic SEO in your day-to-day life while doing SEO? Like your thoughts on semantic SEO?
Yeah, for 100% in English, the algorithms and stuff have put you in a position now where if you have to do it, right? But I am more a believer that it's more to do with consensus matching and things like that than it is necessarily to do with how Google is interconnecting your linguistics and patterns and things like that. I'm more in general, most people when they talk about semantic SEO, I talk about interconnected words, right? I prefer to talk about interconnected documents, right? And generally speaking, when you look at patterns, Google cares more about interconnected documents and links, right? Which is basically what that is, than it does words. So I tend to go more down the path that semantic SEO is basically topical coverage and making sure you have all of the pages ticked off just so that you can rank your core pages, right? And as an example, for PressWiz right now, which is our link building platform, I've been doing a very slow white hat SEO campaign to rank as top 3 for like niche edits and guest posts and those kind of keywords and stuff, right? And to achieve that, obviously, I can't be building loads of links because Google's just going to penalize me tomorrow because they check my LinkedIn profile. So I've had to go a lot more white hat approach. And to do that, all I have to do is basically tick off all of these boxes around content and pages for link building, because that's what Google wants to see, is it wants you to see you being the authority on link building. But you can't just be the authority on link building. You have to be an interconnected authority. So I have to use the internal links and quite aggressive internal linking and keyword matching and keyword variant usage, all sorts of stuff, to be able to make sure that those pages are ranking. And like I said, if you do that, it saves you a ton of money on link building, because you don't have to be nearly as aggressive with your links as you do if you've got the coverage. And especially if you're in lower competition niches, which don't have loads of people abusing it with Parasite SEO and things like that, you'll get a lot more ROI out of doing the semantic coverage and the semantic SEO in the first place than you will even trying to do all the other styles.
And do you like still think that making an affiliate website in 2025 makes a lot of sense? Or like people should like focus on building something more long term, like an e-commerce or a service based business?
If you want to do affiliate, just do lead gen. To
Okay.
be honest, I would say, right? Like you'll
You mean
get
local
it's
lead generation?
easier. Google doesn't penalize the links as much and things, and you can a lot of the time get bigger commissions, right? If you're doing like law firms or cosmetic surgery or anything like that, or even construction and stuff, you can often get 4-figure commissions for singular referrals, especially on phone call leads, and if you're tracking them properly. I would say that building that is a lot safer bet. Building a lead generation website is a lot safer bet than building an affiliate website is now. However, I would always recommend building the e-commerce, building the SaaS, building the brand, because it is a lot easier to market and build up and generate revenue for it than it is doing it for lead gen or affiliate, where you're theoretically promoting another company, but you can only ever do that on your own website, right? If you're promoting them on social media or something like that, then you're often promoting them for free, because people are going to see their logo and just search the brand that you're promoting. They're not going to click on the affiliate link. So I would always recommend to go down the path of owning your own asset. But if you want to have the freedom of and that kind of financial lifestyle business of building your own website, where you don't have to have products, you don't have to do customer service, you don't have to do all this other stuff, and like that's handled for you, then I would go down
The local lead generation,
path,
right?
for sure. But affiliate is just too aggressively targeted by Google now. And Parasite dominates. As soon as you have a profitable website, someone will copy it or they'll kill it with Parasite, or a big website will come in and outrank you and steal your clicks.
When it comes to like starting lead generation, you mean the local lead generation, right? The like ranking for your local terms, like plumbers in Denver or like Las Vegas and stuff.
Yeah, for that you can do national terms too, but it's generally speaking local is just easier. To be fair, especially if you're doing your own websites. But I tend to like competitive SERPs. So most of the sites that we've done are more national / international, and it's like comparison sites, versus. As an example, you can do insurance company versus insurance company, right? People click through, sign up, and because it's an annually recurring insurance policy, sometimes you can get a $250, $450 commission off of one referral, right? And those keywords are really easy to rank for, and kind of create content for it and stuff as well. The only thing I would say is AI overviews are starting to kill a lot of that traffic, because they're coming a lot more aggressively for it, and it's not as easy as it was in the last few years.
But still quite easy than actually doing an affiliate website. Okay. And when it comes to doing gray hat or black hat SEO, the most common thing that we get to hear is obviously PBNs, right? So what do you think? Like, do PBNs still work in 2025? Do you still rely on using PBN links, or it's not that effective now?
Yeah, we use PBNs, but generally speaking, we just use them for parasites and tier 2 links.
Okay.
A lot of the time they're too risky tier 1. And we want them linking to different domains. A lot of the issue is if you have a PBN and you're linking to all of your websites with the same PBN, then it's just linking to the same 5, 6, 7, 8 websites over and over and over again, and you're creating footprints. So we try and use PBNs that aren't creating footprints, which means they're linking to guest posts or they're linking to parasite pages, which means they're linking to different domains all the time, and they're not creating that same footprint linking pattern. We also never buy PBNs. A lot of the problem that people talk about is, oh, I got hit by PBNs. Well, that's because you bought PBN link off of a Black Hat World thread or from Fiverr or something like that. And so did 900 other morons who ended up all getting their site penalized because somebody else also did something stupid as well along the line. And you have to remember that if you're buying public services that are having crossover links with other people who are buying those public services and getting the same public private links, then their SEO is also putting you at risk. Because if they get caught doing other stuff and then Google engineers find that PBN from them doing the other stuff, they find you from that PBN and you get hit in the process. So I am very risk adverse when it comes to PBN, so I'll only use it for parasite and tier link building.
Okay. And like, if you would have to start SEO all over again, what one sector or niche you would focus on to make money with SEO in 2025?
iGaming.
iGaming? Okay. Okay, I guess obviously, we also manage a lot of clients and we do it for ourselves. I know that, iGaming is just so much rewarding when it comes to, especially with the hybrid deals, CPA plus revenue share. It just makes it go really crazy. Again, wrapping up, before we wrap up, anything that you would like to advise people on, those who are, into SEO and struggling these days with so much updates, with so much, competition by Google and competitors, like what they should do around to make a sustainable living with SEO?
I would try and position yourself against the changes that are happening, right? So it depends what you're doing in SEO. If you're working in information and content and news and things like that, I think you're going to struggle a lot more than if you're working in e-commerce or if you're working in lead generation and things like that, right? Um, pick your side, find out how it's going to change and how the technology is going to change that. Try and adapt to those changes and learn with them, and don't get scared that AI is going to destroy things and stuff like that. Use it as much as you can. You'd be amazed at how many business decisions and things I've made off of speaking to ChatGPT. Right, I've got a lot of fantastic insights and feedback around key business decisions and opportunities and things just from using the AI. And then make sure that you're looking at the opportunities that are going to stand the test of time. So there's a ton of people right now that are working for some, even in iGaming, right? They're working for operators that, this is unbelievable, right? But there are people in iGaming that are somehow unprofitable, right? In the one industry where you think you would be able to literally just print money because it's gambling, right? Some people still fail to make money. So I would look at what company you're working for, who you're backing, right? And make sure you're backing the right horse. Because I see even some big SEO teams that are currently working for the wrong horse, in my opinion. And in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, that job probably won't exist anymore because that company won't exist anymore. So make sure you're positioning yourself against the changes that are coming. Make sure you're backing the right horse, and make sure you're using this technology to the best of your ability, and make sure that you're getting the information and the insights and the changes, and you're confirming them against with the AI and with this new personal assistant. Because essentially you've got access to like a therapist, a high-level business advisor, a futures trader, a language interpreter, all of these different things, 24/7, all wrapped into one.
Yes.
And unfortunately, a lot of businesses, a lot of companies and things are forcing you to adapt to
Yeah.
use it. And if you are working in a job as well, then having that on your resume, having that skill set, being able to be the top 1% in SEO using ChatGPT alone, will get you a higher base salary. Now, that's the world we live in nowadays.
Okay. And do you think, like, again, to wrap, AI SEO is like going anywhere, or will just AI overview kill all these affiliates, lead generators, and stuff, or it's still a long way?
As soon as Google rolls it out and defaults it, it will just kill a lot of affiliate sites. It will kill a lot of lead gen opportunities and things like that. But I don't see Google rolling it out, at least not this year, defaulted, because it just kills their ads business too much. And that's a massive, massive amount of their revenue. It's something like 80% of their
Is
revenue
ads?
from search ads,
Yes.
something like that, 10% from YouTube ads. So I don't see them doing that until they've solved that ads problem. And I don't see them doing it for things like e-commerce as much. I don't see
iGaming.
them doing it in certain niches. So in iGaming, so far they haven't really done many AI reviews.
And they will not
really.
do
They
because
seem to be very anti-casino.
yeah. And again, they'll not do because they're not profitable from ads from those niches. Like I did a podcast with Kore, and Kore was like, Google does not touches SERP where ads are not white hat, or where ads are not really easy to run on. Usually Google disrupts the SERP where they get the most business from ads. Though iGaming, they get a lot of business, but it's usually the gray or the black hat way, because again, running ads on iGaming is not that simple, and not everybody does that. Neither it's a big portion for Google as well. So Google will probably avoid getting into all these types of niches with their AI stuff and all. Okay. So Charles, that is it. Like, would you like to add up anything for the audience, or like is a good call?
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.
If you'd like to check me out, you can follow me on Twitter/X
Yes.
at Charles_SEO, and then just add me on LinkedIn. It's Charles Floate.
Yes, all the socials, guys, will be linked in the description. So again, Charles, thank you for this podcast. Hopefully, I'll see you soon in some again SEO conference. And thank you for coming, and thank you for watching, guys. Those who are watching, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.